Designer Accessory Adoption. Thanks for watching this video and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, thank you for clicking play. And if you are returning, thank you for coming back to watch another video. Today's video will be a tag topic actually and a conversation. I really wanted to get everybody's opinion about this video, not about this video, but pretty much about this topic. And so I'll go ahead and give my opinion, but my intentions are to share my opinion and then also create a conversation around it. So as you can see from the title, we will be talking about base handbag prices. And so before I even give my opinion, I just want to make sure we all start off on the same page and you understand where I'm coming from with this question. And I am pretty much talking about across all luxury fashion houses, pretty much kind of their basic entry-level prices for a normal sized handbag. And I know there are different ranges between like the small version, mini version, or whatever, but everybody has different ranges. So before I even start, let's take a few brands out of this first part of the opinion. And when I talk about base handbag prices, what I'm talking about, we're going to take out Louis Vuitton, we're going to take out Chanel, and we're going to take out Hermes. So we're going to take those big three out. And now we're going to leave in the other ones that are still in there, like Saint Laurent, Celine, Chloe. What else do we have? So many. Burberry, Gucci, Tod's, all of those that fit with Christian Dior. All of those that fit within kind of that, not the big three, but the rest of them that are still very important, still very popular fashion houses. But I feel like they kind of belong in a separate category. So we're talking about all of those. And obviously that's not the full list, but you get what I mean. So when I'm talking about the base bag point, I'm talking about those. And so what sparked this topic, I had actually been thinking about it for a while, but I would say what pushed me over the ledge really is when I was scrolling through my phone. Actually, let me just pull up, and I'll probably pop the photo up here so you can see a reference point, but I'll flip my phone around so you can see also. I am talking about this bag here. So I was scrolling on Bottega Veneta's website, and in recent years, I'd say within the past 5 years, Bottega Veneta has done a really good job in becoming a powerhouse and been turning out it bag after it bag after it bag. They have the Joey or Jody, I think it's called, the cassette bag, they got the pouch, and they have done a really good job with turning around pretty much their perception of their handbags and making bags that are more relevant to a younger demographic. Bottega Veneta has been a luxury staple for decades, but I would say 10 years ago, you probably thought, when you thought about Bottega Veneta, or if you saw it out and about, I know when I used to see it out and about, I would see it on a well-dressed woman that was in a more seasoned age group. Let's put it like that. So they really, you saw them, you know, they were pretty much well dressed, looked very nice, and they just had kind of this aura about themselves, and they were in that age group that was on the more seasoned side. And so I don't think the younger demographic really thought about Bottega Veneta until recently when they were able to revamp some of the styles of their handbag, and they still have those staples out there. And I remember back then, early 2000s, 2010 even, I guess I probably would say maybe around that range too. I remember, but definitely in the early 2000s when I started paying attention to kind of more luxury fashion houses and things like that, I remember their classic, and I'm not even going to say the name of it, but it's the woven hand pattern, the woven weaving pattern, and it starts with an I. I'll throw it down here below because I'm just not going to butcher the pronunciation of it, but it's their hobo bag, and that's a classic staple that they have been making for decades. That bag I would see on Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, some of those websites, for around, I would say like $900 and up to maybe $1,500, which even back then seemed very expensive. But scrolling through their website recently, this bag is, let me give you the exact price, $6,200. And I know that the recent fall fashion, I don't want to say fashion lines, but the recent fall why can't I think of anything right now? The runways. The runways were coming out with, I think Givenchy was one of them. Bottega was another one, where they were showing these really large, oversized handbags. And when I saw the price, I thought, this surely has to be the extreme runway version where you could fit a car in it. That's why this bag is $6,200. Absolutely not. Looking at the dimensions, this is the regular large size that you would have seen for probably $1,500 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, I was just so shocked. And that was the pretty much the inspiration that pushed me over the ledge, and I said, I have got to record a video on this because I have to know other people's opinion about this. Now, I will say, before I give my opinion, I think a little bit of this drastic price increase has to do with their recent popularity, because they've just been able to, like I said, turn around the image of their brand and attract a younger demographic, and they just keep coming out with hit after hit after hit. So with that said, I do think some of that has to do with the price point of this hobo. Now, moving on past that, my opinion, and when I say the base price, now every fashion house has a different kind of range of handbags and different customer demographics. Now, obviously, if you're a handbag lover and you are not necessarily tied to a single brand, when you see something you like and you're interested in it, you're likely going to buy from different fashion houses. So I'm not saying that just this goes for like just one demographic purchases from one fashion house versus over another, but everybody has kind of like their sweet spot with their customer base. And so that's what I'm talking about. So we're talking about these handbag prices that range from, I've seen them as low as like $1,500, I will say, because I did actually see them yesterday, a YSL. I'm going to switch back and forth between YSL and Saint Laurent. So that's why you heard me pause. But I did see a Saint Laurent bag that was on Neiman Marcus website, and it was about $1,500. So I would say like that base price of a normal size handbag, not a wallet on chain, but just a normal size handbag, where you're going to go from like $1,500, and then you've seen them go up just depending on the fashion house and what the item is, to $3,000-$4,000. So all of those, like I mentioned, those brands before that I mentioned, and then the other ones that I have not said, minus those kind of big three, we'll take those on in a second. I do think there's a sweet point. So what I'm wondering is, what do you guys think, and whether will we hit a base point where these kind of more entry level or more affordable it's luxury, so it's not really affordable like as in you think of paying $100 for something, so that's why I did the affordable in quotation marks, but relative to the luxury industry, kind of your more entry level handbags and are more of an attainable price point versus other options that they have in the fashion house. Will we see them get to that point where, for example, a Christian Dior medium or small size book tote will get to $10,000? Will we see a Celine, I think it's called like the Triumph or the 16, one of those, get to the entry level point of $10,000? Another example, will we see a Saint Laurent Sac de Jour in the, I don't remember all the sizes, but maybe not a nano, but one a little bit bigger than that, so maybe a small or something, get to the point where that is $10,000. I want to know your opinion. My opinion is, no, we won't get to that point, but every fashion house does have a different sweet spot because of the different customers that are purchasing from them, so those demographics, as well as what their price range is already. So I don't think we'll get to the $10,000 mark. But like I mentioned before with Bottega and that extreme hike of a price, I think partially it's so high because Bottega's hot right now. So they're able to command a higher price because the demand is there. I do think that price will drop off a little bit as the desire moves from Bottega to maybe another fashion house that will have a it bag for the next 5 years. So I do think that. But I do think we definitely will see luxury fashion houses continue to raise their prices. That's always been happening. That's how we even got this price point that we have now. I remember when I first started buying my first Burberry handbag that was all leather was under $1,000. You cannot find an all leather handbag, I don't think, on the Burberry website for under $1,000 now. So that's a sign of Burberry has been increasing their prices, like every fashion house has been increasing their prices. So I know that there will be an increase in prices, but I think there's going to be a sweet spot, and it's going to be a different point for every fashion house where they'll get to that point where it will increase to a point where it's going to basically price out customer base, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. So at that point, then they're going to have to adjust the price according to who buys their handbags, who's driving the business. So I don't know what that number is. I definitely think we have some years to go before we see it hit that number, but I do think that there will be a sweet spot for all fashion houses, like I mentioned, where it's going to be too expensive for their main customer base that's purchasing their items, and they will have to adjust accordingly to make sure that they stay in business, right? Just because you ask $10,000 for something does not mean somebody's willing or able to pay $10,000. And you have to have, just for business sake, you have to have enough people willing to pay $10,000 to keep yourself afloat. So pretty much my opinion is for those base customers, for those fashion houses, I don't think we'll get to that point. Now, bringing in the other three, because they're already extremely close with some of their lines. So let's bring in LV, let's bring in Chanel, and let's bring in Hermes, because they're already there. So not really talking about Hermes because they're pretty much kind of there already. But I feel like the moves that Chanel and LV have been making over the years, where they are limiting canvas, they are increasing prices several times a year and adjusting based off of different markets and things like that. I do think that some of the business moves that they've been making has been to target those uber wealthy, those ultra wealthy customers. Not that they aren't already buying from them, because I definitely think that they do. But I think that these big bumps in prices and things like that also have to do with them wanting to go after a different customer base, and makes it more exclusive. I feel like it's more of a reverse psychology type of thing, where really I think I don't have the exact information on what the demographics are. I tried Googling that type of information, and because I'm not a finance guru and don't really know where to look for that type of information, I don't know where I can find that or whether that is something that is public knowledge. But in my opinion, I feel like the base customer for all of these fashion houses really are your everyday people. I'm an everyday person, a teacher's an everyday person, a business owner is even an everyday person. And then you have the people that are kind of royalty and they're heirs of fortunes that's been around for hundreds of years and things like that. You have those, and those are those people that we're calling uber and ultra wealthy. Or, they could be recent tech tycoons that within the last 20 years have just amassed a large amount of wealth. So those are those people, when you're talking about, I don't have to plan and save for an item. I can just wake up because I have $3 billion in my bank account, and I can just go wherever I want and say, I'm just going to drop $100,000 here in London. I'm going to Dubai next week, and I'm just going to drop $500,000 over there on things, and then spend $300,000 in Paris, and this was in the last 6 months. Those people, I think that they're kind of going after those people. And I feel like they're doing that partially, like I mentioned, by some of the business moves that they made with the offerings that of the items that they provide in the store or they don't provide in the store, and also in addition to that with the price increases. And I feel like they're trying to use this reverse psychology to target those people, but they're going after them and using reverse psychology to get the everyday person to buy. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's what I think they're doing. So then as they push for something that may be not as attainable for the everyday person, then that they're thinking that it's going to make those people still buy, because those are the people, like, I feel like those are the people that are driving the business. You have your people, like I said, that are ultra wealthy, that don't have to think about it, don't have to budget it. They can just go grab it the next day or make an impulse purchase. They don't have to worry about the things that we have to worry about on an everyday basis as a normal person, whether you own your own business or whether you work for another company, that they don't have to worry about kind of those things that we have to worry about as an everyday person, is really what I'm getting at. So, and I think that makes those people kind of more want to purchase more, as I'm thinking that's the way that they're using that reverse psychology, that if I keep moving the goalposts, you'll still keep chasing the goalposts. But I do feel, because definitely Chanel and LV, with a lot of the Chanel classic flaps, and LV has definitely some leather good items that are really expensive. You know, we're talking 6, 7, 8,000. I include 5 in there too, right? So you're talking about that range of $5,000 to $8,000. So they're very close, especially on that top range, of getting to that $10,000 mark. So I do think that absolutely, like the Chanel classic flap jumbo, that one's going to hit the $10,000 mark, definitely, without question. I think as the other items go up, so that means that the jumbo would then bump up and end up being maybe $14,000 at some point, where like your normal, I don't want to make it seem like it's just an everyday frivolous thing, because that is completely not the impression I'm trying to give. But your items that are kind of more around the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 mark will then trend more towards closer to the $10,000 mark. And I do think we will see that with LV leather goods and some of their items, and also with some of the Chanel items that are not at the top tier of the price range right now. I do think that we'll get to that point. I do feel like they will have a sweet spot. I don't think that most of their items that people will purchase will be $10,000 though. The reason I say that is because the main customer base, like I said, are not those people that really can afford that amount. Really, when you think about it, it seems like a lot of people are buying luxury items, but it's really a small subset. Not a lot of people really can even afford $1,000 handbag. So let alone a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 handbag is really extreme. And as you get to that point where your normal everyday person that has to plan out their budget and save over time for extended periods of time to be able to afford these items. And I don't want this video or anybody that decides to do the tag topic to kind of trend towards bashing people for buying these luxury items. Everybody likes what they like. So really what I'm saying is, you like what you like, and in this video we're talking about you like luxury handbags, right? So that is why you are here. So, you know, for those people who like these things, and that's the reason you're watching this video, then you understand, you know, this is what you like and this is what you want to purchase, because that's your thing. And so you're saving over time and budgeting and whatever to afford that item that you like. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to hit that sweet spot, like I said, where a person that it was able to kind of save a certain amount of money to get towards that goal item is going to have to save a little bit longer. And it's going to get to a point where either you don't want to save that extended amount of time, or you're having to choose between putting a little bit more money into kids' private school or to your 401k, versus siphoning a little bit more off to go towards your fun money. And it's going to get to a point where these things over here that are a lot more important, school, retirement, travel, whatever is in this more important bubble, is going to override your fun, pleasurable things. And you'll look to other fashion houses, or you'll look to the pre-owned market or something of that nature, versus taking the extra 2 years that it takes to save, or to pull off a little bit more money from this bucket over here or that bucket over there to get to the item you really, really want. You'll kind of adjust your thoughts and fill in that, I don't want to say void, because that sounds too drastic, but fill in kind of those desires or things that you really like in a different way, because they'll get to that point where they're pricing out their main customer base, like I said. So I don't think we'll get to the point where they will hit the $10,000 mark, but there will be a sweet spot where it will get to that point where it's going to basically be so expensive that the main people that are keeping these businesses afloat will not be able to afford it, and they will have to adjust their prices accordingly, because guess what? Just because you raise your price does not mean Princess Lulabelle over in New Zealand is going to buy your luxury item. They're going to buy it because they're going to buy it, not because it is more expensive, in my opinion. I'm not a ultra wealthy person where I have billions of dollars in my access that I can just, take and spend. Hopefully I get there one day. But so obviously I'm speaking about this as an outsider, but I feel like that's the price increase is not the reason that it would drive a super ultra wealthy person towards it. So that's why I feel like it's a reverse psychology type of thing. I probably said that before, so sorry if I've mentioned it again, but pretty much like I said, I think we're going to get to that point where you're going to see a trail off, because the people who are floating these businesses are your everyday people who are saving to get there, not they just can not think about it and swipe it and buy whatever they want. They can buy a $30,000 rocket ship bag because it's a collector's piece and it's not really functional, versus I'm spending $6,000 because I'm going to use this item, I'm going to love it, I'm going to invest in it, I'm going to pass it down, not just let it sit in my closet. So those are two different people. So that's my opinion, is that those groups will get to that point. I don't think, even if we get to that point where we're seeing more of the base products or more of the range of products get closer to that $10,000 mark, I don't think it will stay there for long for that reason, just because the bulk of the people who are buying luxury handbags, luxury fashion items, are people who work everyday jobs, people who have businesses and have a certain, income level. Like I mentioned before, I'm thinking that customer base is like your everyday person, whether that's a person that's a millionaire, versus now if you make, $50 million a year, you're in a different category. I feel like you're in a different category from the everyday person. But like I mentioned, you have those people that are really floating the business, and you will get to a point where you have priced those people out, and they'll have to adjust accordingly, because they'll see that those are the people that are their customer base. And if they want to stay in business, you need to put it at a price where your people that can afford it can afford it. So that's my opinion. Thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear your opinion too. So on the screen, you will see a hashtag. If you're interested in doing this video, definitely for my folks that I will tag, please post the video, whether your name is on the screen or not, and you want to do a video on it, definitely please go ahead and do one too. But use the hashtag below so I can find your video and hear your opinion and see the conversation that's been going on around it. So I'm going to call out the folks that I have admired their channels and would love to get their opinion on it. So hopefully some of these people will do the video. And if I don't have your name on the screen, like I mentioned, and you feel led to do this video, I encourage you to do it and use the hashtag so that way I can, like I mentioned, find it. So I'm going to read off the names here on the screen. And so that's going to be Simply Kura. I'm going to tag you. Chic Maven, Amaya Lux, Christina Brawley, Amelia Rose's Closet, Brittany Pockets and Bows, Haya Glamazon, Sophie Sohet, Chic Professor, and Autumn Beckman. If you would please use the hashtag below, I tag you. And oh, I forgot one. I'm sorry. Shandy Cole. I had you at the top of the list. I'm sorry. I forgot to scroll up. So all of those folks that I called out, I would love to hear your opinions. Like I mentioned, I admire your videos, would love to see your perspective on this topic, and I look forward to seeing your video. And also, Folks, here's another call out for you. If you are not on the screen, no offense at all to you. I just don't know about your channel. And so please definitely use the hashtag to record your opinion so we can create a conversation around this topic. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.